This is the Netflix one-month overview reading for the month of January 2024. It's currently November 26, 2023, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Netflix at the time of this reading was last in the extended hours $479.56. That's USD. And the shuffle video for the Netflix January predictions was created on October 25, 2023 at 1:48 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video here in the bottom corner. So overall theme and behavior for Netflix is going to be bullish, but it is very mixed, like many of the January readings that I've looked at. Very, very mixed. The wealth card is sideways rotation, a big move higher, and then sideways rotation at a higher price level. It's mixed with the crossed with the Magus card, which in the case of this reading, I believe to be a relatively bearish energy. The Magus card, in many cases, it can be either direction, but in the case of this one, I think it's going bearish. Behavior around the highest high, we have 3 pokes through the same price level, or the same trend line, I should say, followed by a sharp drop off of the third poke. And behavior around the lowest low, we don't have any significations on the timeline to the low significator, making it a little bit difficult, or a little bit tricky, I should say, to pinpoint the timing of the lowest low. But what we can say about the Dominion card as the low significator is that we'll see price swings around the low and probably see the low more than once in a period of price swinging. Before we go any further, I want to make sure everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And we do that by following the rule of karma for the channel, which is the unwritten agreement between the universe and the people utilizing this information for personal gain. The universe has no problem with people utilizing this information for personal gain as long as it's a part of helping other people. And the way that you do that is by following the rule of karma. So for all profitable trades, 5% of the profit should be donated forward to one of these charities. Just click here on a link and donate. 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel through one of these links to say thank you and support the channel. It leaves you with 90% of the money. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. The channel is going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel. Neglect to follow through on the rule of karma, and the universe is just going to ignore you. It's not going to be sending you abundance through this channel. So be forewarned of that. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. So first thing I want to make sure everybody's aware, if you're new, it's important to understand that each card going across the screen horizontally represents about 1 day of time. They're all numbered for the day they represent. But what's important to understand is that not each card's energy will line up perfectly with 1 day of time. So you have to give it some wiggle room, plus or minus a day here or there. For the most part, if not all of it, will be right on point as far as timing. But in some cases, it will vary by plus or minus a day or so. And in cases like that, just make sure to follow the sequence of events of the chart behavior predicted, because that will remain accurate no matter what. All right, so here on the second, we have a decline to and through support to be the second support. We bounce along that support for a bit, and then we break down through multiple supports into a prominent trough for the month there towards the end of the day. A pop and drop on the third, and a trade opportunity we'll talk about in more detail there. There's an important resistance level at a peak there towards the end of the day on the third, and an important price level on a 1-year scale minimum highlighted on the fourth. There's likely a prominent trough for the month there as well on the morning of the fourth or on the cusp of the third, fourth. We go from like the end of the day on the third being at a resistance peak to a trough early in the day on the fourth, and then we should see rallying from that price level on the fourth into the fifth, probably ending with a decline on the fifth and another trough at the end of the day. Likely that prominent trough won't be as low as the one from the fourth, but we'll talk about that in more detail on the paid version. And then the rally continues higher on the 8th, pushing the upper end of a range higher on a 1-month chart scale, and meeting a key resistance important on a 1-month chart scale minimum. The Ace of Wands indicates a prominent, the Ace of Swords indicates a prominent peak or crest there around the cusp of the 8th, 9th. And then there's a trough towards the end of the day on the 9th with a big move out of it to the upside, a fake out or shakeout or some sort of really scary chart behavior on the 10th. Let's see what I get for the 10th devil card. Yeah, so there's like a fake out there. We start out with like a decline, and then we end up moving to the upside, but the unicursal there indicates a good moment before a pretty significant decline, and then whatever move to the upside there on the 10th with that trade opportunity ends up, we rally into the 11th, but that rally is halted by a decline through key support, and that's probably that unicursal hexagram decline that the unicursal's talking about or warning of. On the 12th, we have a period of sideways bumping along resistance sideways, maybe breaking through, especially towards the end of the day. Pretty big move to the upside. It might be from a trough to a peak, or it might just be to a peak. There might be a trough in there on the 12th as well, and if there's a trough there on the 12th, it'd be towards the end of the day with a really big move out of it to reach a peak. So far, there's been 5 significant trade opportunities I'm going to talk about in more detail in the paid version. Before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we're doing for November's reading. So November was really like super bullish. The reading was super bullish, and you can see we really haven't gone down really. I mean, there's been a couple days that were down, but they didn't even like break into new local lows or anything. It's just been bullish all the way up. We had a highest high here on the 23rd, 24th. Boom, you can see that took place. And then there should be a higher one even still there on the 27th, maybe even the 28th before we declined pretty hard. We had a lowest low on the 8th. Looks like it ended up being on the 1st. On the 8th, we had, on the 9th, I should say, we had a pretty significant drop on, comparatively speaking to the other days of the month. But it didn't end up being a lowest low, so we're a little bit off on that. However, if you did go ahead and open up a long position as advised by the paid version there on the 13th, or even on the 10th, you could have done a partial on the 10th, and then completed that on the 13th, and then held it until we're instructing until the 24th, the morning of the 24th, you would have made a really solid profit there, guys. You would have gone from here, from 438 all the way to 479.80, almost 480, depending on when you got out in the day. And that would have been a super profitable trade. And that would have been that trade only would have been indicated, you would have only known about that through the paid version. So, all right, so a prominent peak or crest early in the morning on the 16th, and then a really notable decline. Probably one of our biggest, if not the biggest decline that we have of the month from the 16th into the 17th, where we have a pretty prominent low, if not, it'll be a prominent low for the month. with a significant move higher on the 18th to a peak or crest. I'm advised not to chase that rally because we have a full retracement of that move back down on the 18th into the 19th. So a prominent peak towards the early part of the day on the 18th. Another prominent peak on the 19th in a period of volatility and a sharp drop that'll stand out in that period of volatility as well. A notable decline on the 22nd to revisit a support level that we recently met once before. It's probably the same support we saw on the 16th, 17th. In a lot of the January readings, we're seeing the same support there on the 16th, 17th as on the 22nd, 23rd. And then there's out of oversold territory, a notable move to the upside on the 23rd. This will really stand out. It'll either be like a gap up, or it'll be a big move higher, filling a previous gap down, or it'll just be like a big move out of oversold territory to an important peak and trade opportunity on the 23rd midday. And there's also a day trade opportunity on the 23rd. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. Another prominent peak early in the day on the 24th. I'm advised to be cautious on the 24th. Some sort of misdirection, multiple false tops, bottoms, or some sort of tricky reversal, something that can make you impulsively do the wrong thing. So I'm advised to be cautious. Looks like it's a prominent move higher and then another move back down. So like a pop and drop. And then on the 25th, we have sideways rotation. We rise to meet the nearest resistance and fall back down and continue rotating sideways along that key support. U-shaped dip with two peaks in it on the 26th and possibly another prominent peak or crest there on the 26th or the 29th even. Sideways fluidity, equal amounts of bulls and bears inflow and outflow on the 29th, moving sideways overall. And then on the 30th, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support. And then it looks like a really big move to meet a peak midday to the upside. Prominent peak on the 31st, we have sideways rotation establishing support, and then a big move higher standing out on a 1 month scale. February looks like a lot of volatility from the standpoint of this preview card being the Prince of Swords, and I'll talk about February in more detail in the paid version. That's Netflix for January 2024, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. If you have done so, please share this with somebody you think it'll help. Really helps out the channel to subscribe and share. But most importantly, make sure to follow that rule of karma, guys. It's the whole purpose of the channel. You know where to go. You know what to do here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. All right, guys. So from the standpoint of the multi-year, the 10-year reading, we have an opportunity to close long positions in 2024 at like probably a highest high thus far for the 10-year period of 2020 through 2029. So we're looking at price levels that'll be higher than 691. So we have price levels higher than, it looks like I already marked this off. We have price levels higher at meeting like the $700 range here in 2024. But it'll be a new high for that 10-year period, so at least the $700 range. And it's an opportunity to exit out of long positions and open up short positions before we see this trough, a sizable trough on the in 2025 or 26 even. So if Netflix behaves anything like the majority of the other 2024 readings that I've seen, then we have a highest high in January. It's the highest high thus far, going into a lowest low and then into a highest high again. Something along those lines going on. But what's important from the standpoint of the cross-reading congruencies is that we're still seeing some 2023 stuff. Like, this is really solid, guys. Look at this prominent peak here in November. Well, so from the standpoint of the January monthly, we have a lot of cross-reading congruencies going on, kind of like a blend between January and December of 2023, right? So we've got the Lovers card here near the low. We've got the Valor card here in the midst of that beginning of that unicursal kind of drop. The Cruelty card as well here, which is highlighted. Its energies are highlighted again around the low. So from the standpoint of a trade on a multi-year scale, what I'm looking for, you got probably, like, there's a prominent peak and a prominent trough in here in January. And I think what I would do is, if in the midst of the peak, open up a short and look to close that short towards the end of the month, or hold it into lower lows that are probably at the end of February. But that's kind of like risky to hold a short that long. In any case, there's misdirection, which always provides an opportunity if you're on the right side of that misdirection there in late January. So the energy around the 5th to the 9th, I would probably open up in the midst of a rally on the 5th, open up a partial short on the 8th, add to that short if we go higher, and then on the 9th, add to that short, or add to that short if we go higher, or if we hit the same price level. But I'd want to complete my short position by the 9th, and then close it out on the 17th in the midst of that low. Or if you're planning to hold it into the following month, I would look to do that short there. I might actually wait until, if I'm looking for a multi-month short, I'd probably wait until I put on a partial short on the 23rd in the midst of a big move higher, and then I'd add to that short on the 26th towards the middle to late in the day if I saw the same price level or higher. But it looks like the best trade on a multi-day scale for this month of January is going to be a short like into the rally that takes place between the 5th and the 9th, the rally into that key resistance or pushing that resistance higher. On the 3rd, in the midst of that pop and drop, there's a move higher to key resistance towards the end of the day. You could open up a short there and close that short the very next day on the 4th. If I'm wrong about that 4th, hold it until the 17th. You should be fine, even if we go a little higher on the 8th, 9th. But I think the science price level is probably at like an important, it'll be near a trough on the 4th in the morning. All right, so I think we probably revisit the lows, and this will be the lowest low. If I didn't mention that already, this will be the lowest low here around the 17th. Either that, it's going to be the most the lowest low could be like first thing in the month, or it could be here on the 17th. But this will be a prominent low either way, and we're going to most likely revisit that low here on the 22nd, 23rd. We do so in a lot of the January readings. We visit a low there. So what I would do is when we revisit the price level of the 17th, when we revisit it somewhere on the 22nd, 23rd, that's when I would enter into a long position, probably on the 23rd. I would enter into a long position for a day trade. There's a big move to the upside on the 23rd, and I would want to close out of that before midday at an important price level. It might even be back to highs. It's possible we go back to highs here because there's a lot of cross-reading congruencies talking about highest highs towards the end of the month. And I think we probably do, because overall it's a really bullish month. But we very well likely have another highest high here on like the 25th, 26th, 29th, probably the 26th. Those are the best trades for Netflix in January. And the exit on the 17th for all those positions that I'm talking about exiting on the 17th would be in the midst of a decline on a one-day chart. A decline increases with momentum moving forward and time standing out on a one-day chart there on the 17th. And there's a lot of readings where we go, like, there's a high here, and then there's a high here, and then we decline pretty hard. But I think Netflix probably rebounds by the 25th, 26th, it's starting to rebound, I think. And as far as performance compared to the S&P 500, see the S&P 500's got lows here. It's got lows in the first week. It's got lows in the third week. It's got highs here in the 8th, 9th. It's got highs here at the end of the month. So very, very similar. And also you can see there's the unicursal energy as well on the 12th, right? We've got unicursal here on the 10th. So somewhere there around that time frame, probably a like a market-wide decline of some kind into lows here. See, there's that Hermit card revisiting a low there. Hermit card's here on the 22nd. So it looks like SPY or S&P 500 overall has a better performance than Netflix in the month of January 2024. My friends, that's Netflix for January 2024. Thank you so much for supporting the channel with the paid version. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to put out this content, and we wouldn't be able to reach for the goals that this channel has. You're a big part of what goes on here at Tarot for Traders and the Investor Profit. So blessings to you, blessings to all my angel investors. You know what to do, you know where to go. I'll see you guys on the next one.